Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. Happy Friday. Today is going to be a short and sweet live. I'm going to take some questions if I have time towards the end. But there is an important topic that I want to talk to you about, and it's the proposed fee increases that may be coming up at the earliest in March 2023. You may be seeing your immigration application fees going up. So I want to talk a little about this and then give you an idea of what those fee increases look like. I did get a chance to review the proposed fee increase document, and I took notes on some of those fee increases just so that you can keep that in the back of your mind as they go through. So first they have to go through a comment period before it actually goes into effect. And we did see this kind of proposal back in 2020 when the Trump administration was in place. However, that did not happen because it was so controversial. This time around, we may see this fee increase. The last time we actually had a fee increase was in 2016. And so what they're saying is that because they want to reduce the backlog, they want to hire more staff, they want to be able to process more efficiently, they're going to need to implement this fee increase. So that all sounds good. But of course, there's always a downside to these types of fee increases. For one, uh, there may be, for example, employment-based petitions are going up. The cost to hire immigrants to come into the United States to work for employers are going up. The investor-based green card is going up substantially, almost 2%, or if not 200%. Is the increase. So that may cause a decrease in maybe employers going outward to get immigrants to work here in the United States. And they may also reduce the investor visas as well. So of course, there's always a downside. Another upside, though, is that fee waivers will still be available to low income individuals. The fee waivers sometimes they can be very specific, and there is a process to get a fee waiver. So whenever I'm representing my clients, if they are in need of a fee waiver, I do have to go through the pros and cons of applying for a fee waiver. One thing I noticed when we're applying for fee waivers is it takes longer because they have to process it. The fee waiver itself has to go through a review process, and they have to decide whether they're going to approve it. And in urgent cases that we're filing, the fee waiver is a risk, especially when there's a deadline involved. And so you do have to wait around 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. And right now I'm even seeing 8 weeks for some where we're doing fee waivers. And that can put a damper on the application process and create a substantial delay. But there will be fee waivers available, and some humanitarian-based applications, they still don't have a fee. So, for example, asylum applications, the T visa applications don't have fees. The VAWA application through the I-360 still does not have fees because they are servicing vulnerable populations. Now, while I am reading out these fee increases to you, these proposed fee increases to you, based on the most common types of applications, there's a long list, but I just touched on the most common types of applications. Go ahead, put your questions in the comments, and I'm going to still go ahead and go through and answer your questions. It can be anything that's immigration related. I did say I read the article about the increases, and they are wild. Absolutely. Some of them are, over 200% in increase. So as you can see, it is definitely something, a change that will cost immigrants more money, um, on that side, but they have also justified those increases by saying that they're trying to use this increased funding to go ahead and reduce the backlog, increase, hire staff, which they desperately need to do. They desperately need to do it because we're really in a crisis right now with backlogged applications. All right, so fee increases. This is what it looks like. So I am going to list out forms, but I'll tell you what those forms are for. The I-129F, that's the fiance visa. That goes from 535 to 720. The I-130. So another thing I noticed here is when you're applying online, you're going to pay a little less than you do by paper, because the ultimate goal of the USCIS is to push individuals to apply online. They're really trying to go ahead and implement the online filing system. I don't have a problem with this. My firm is very much ahead with online filings. I love it. As a matter of fact, I love the online filings. I find that we get the receipt notice instantaneously as soon as we don't have to wait for snail mail. We don't have to check tracking. We don't have to check whether whether the mailroom got it or whether they accept it. We don't have to stay in a period of suspense as we wait for the mailroom to process it to tell us whether they've accepted it. So online filing, I am really comfortable with it. My firm is really comfortable with doing online filing, and I think it's going in the right direction. And I guess as a reward for taking the initiative to go and file online, they are providing reduced or lower fees than if you do by paper. And so the I-130 online. So the I-130 petition is family based. So if you have a relative who is applying for you to get your permanent residence in the United States, they're going to file the I-130. And when you do it online, it goes from 535 to 710. But if you do it by paper, it goes up a whole $100 more. So it goes from 535 to 820. So that is a substantial amount, substantially more than if you filed online. So keep that one in mind, is that the USCIS is now going into the direction of online filing, and I'm totally with it. The I-601A is going from, and I-601A, you'll hear me talk about this all the time. So if you're stuck in the United States and you need to leave, you can't stay in the country to apply for permanent residence. And if you qualify through a US citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse, a parent, then you can apply for this waiver to get the forgiveness for the overstay and to complete your process at the embassy. This is called the I-601A waiver, and it's going from 715 to 1,105. The I-751 petition, that is done when you're going from the 2-year to the 10-year. They call it removing conditions, right? If you got married to a U.S. citizen or permanent resident and you are married for 2 years or less, you're going to get the 2-year conditional green card. That means that in a year, in 2 years at most, you're going to have to apply to remove those conditions. That's what the I-751 is for. And those fees are going from 680 to 1,195. The I-765, that's for the work permit. Keep in mind, you can't just pull the work permit application from the USCIS website, fill it out, and apply for a work permit. That's not how it works. But sometimes they do have separate fees for the standalone fees for the work permit. And so even though you have to be qualified or be applying for other types of benefits, and so the I-765 online, right now certain individuals can apply for the work permit online. So, for example, students who may now be ready, so they're here on a student visa, now they're ready to apply for their work permit, or they are able to apply for the work permit, they can apply online. And so to do it online, it goes from 410 to 650. Actually, yeah, 650. And then the I-765 paper is also, well, in this case, it's also 650. So there's no jump there. Now the I-90, once you get the permanent residence, you have a 10-year, you may get the 10-year. When you get the 10-year, if you don't get your citizenship before then, you're going to have to apply to renew the card. Doesn't mean you lose at 10 years, you lose permanent residence, but you are going to have to apply for the card again. And so you do that through the I-90 form. The I-90 form that can be submitted online. And so the paper, to do the paper I-90, it's, let's see, so it's going from 455 to 4, so 455 to 465 for the I-90. The I-485, so that's the adjustment of status. The adjustment of status application, that's a big one. And we work with it in employment-based situations. We work with it in family-based situations. So that's a very big one. And it allows you to apply for your permanent residence while you are in the United States. Keep in mind, though, you need to qualify for that, and there are very specific conditions for that. I talk about it all the time, so you can always join one of my lives, and you'll get the tea on how you can apply to stay in the United States and apply for legal permanent residence. But right here, it's going from 1225. That includes usually the biometrics along with the adjustment of status application, and it's going to 1540, 1540. The H-1B fee. So there's a registration fee for employers that's going from $10 to $215. The H-1B is for certain specialty occupations, and the employer has to enter the prospective employee or the employee into a lottery. And then if they're select, and to get into the lottery, they have to pay this registration fee. The actual application fee is going from 460 to 780. So if they're selected, they go forward with the application. This is employment based. It's going from 460 to 780. The L visa is going from 460 to 1385. So a big jump. The L1 is for, so this is for managers, individuals who are working for companies, US companies, and they're outside of the United States. They are going to transfer into the United States, and they may be managers or people with special knowledge about the company, and they need them to be transferred into the US. That is the L1. And that's a big jump. It's going from 460 to 1385. And then the I-140, this is what we file for example, with national interest waiver. That's where you can show you have exceptional ability or an advanced degree, and then you meet all the requirements to come to the United States, and you can file for yourself through the national interest waiver. That there's not a big jump there. It's going from 700 to 715. So that one isn't a huge jump. These are the most common types of applications, and the ones where I see the impact of the fee increase. Of course, there's a long list of others, but for example, if they didn't add fees to applications that don't have fees, I did not mention them here. So in a nutshell, those are the fee increases that we're potentially looking at. And this is going to happen at the earliest, in March 2023, after the comment period, because they first do the proposal, and then they take comments, they address concerns, and then it does become a final rule after that. Keep in mind these fee increases, and get started on your process now. Between now and March, go ahead, don't hesitate. Schedule an appointment, do a consultation with me. Let's figure out whether you qualify and let's move forward with your process if you don't want to contend with those additional fees that are coming. Now, what I listed, by the way, are individual fee forms. If you're doing, it's going to add up, right? So, for example, if you're doing an I-130 form petition, usually this happens when you're applying through a family member and you're staying in the United States at the same time. So you're filing an I-130 and an adjustment of status at the same time. Those increased fees are going to double up because they have to apply the fee for the increased fee for the I-130, and they're going to include the increased fee for the adjustment of status. So it's not just going to be one cost. It's going to be, it's going to be a number of fees because we do have to file a number of applications at the same time. All right. Thanks so much. All right, I'm going to go through questions and I see in the chat. Let's see what's going on here. Hi there, Denroy. Thanks so much. Um, I know that immigrants, so this comment says immigrants go through so much. I understand that is going to impact a number of individuals, but the good thing is that for humanitarian-based applications and certain applications, there are fee waivers available that could help to cushion the fee increases. The best thing you can do right now is to beat the fee increase and see if you qualify and get started. So don't procrastinate, don't sit on this, get started right now so we can determine how to move forward and how to get your application in as soon as possible. All right, so more questions. Go ahead and put those questions in the comments. I see on Instagram already, so I'm going to go through and address your questions. So VAWA is approved and I-485 is transferred to NBC. What's next? And how long for the green card? So the next thing is you're going to expect an interview for the permanent residents. So look out for that. That could be anywhere from another 6 months to a year to get that interview. And the number one thing is to make sure you're prepared for that phase because those interviews can be a little tricky. Love the advice you're giving. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that comment. Have a wonderful weekend too, Ricky. It's nice to see you. All right. What will student visas be? So I did not see, because remember that this is at the Department of State. When you're applying for student visas, this is at the Department of State. This is a proposed rule for the USCIS. So that's going to be different. And I haven't heard about student visa increases yet, but we'll have to see because if they're increasing it at the USCIS, chances are that's going to spread across the board to other agencies and departments. I got my work permit finally. How long before I can get the SSN? So I usually see the SSN come anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks after. Sometimes I get them at the same time, but you have to give it some time. Call the Social Security Administration if you don't see it. I-130 petition was filed by my spouse online from May 2022 and still haven't gotten a feedback. It says case is still in review. That's very much the norm. Right now, I'm seeing a standard processing time for the I-130 at 12 months. So 9 to 12 months on average. My USCIS stated not to contact until this year, December 3rd. Does this mean I might get approved before? So they usually state dates and those dates pass. So I wouldn't hold my breath. I would be positive, maybe try to be optimistic, but I wouldn't hold my breath. So all right. Okay, so just to address your question, so the I-485 fee is going, and the I-485, I'm just going to reiterate for you, it's the adjustment of status application. It's a very important application because if you are going to stay in the United States and apply for your permanent residence, that's going to involve this application, and it's going from 1225 to 1540, 1,540. All right, I'm going to head out. Thanks so much for your time and your questions today. I appreciate it. Today's Friday, so I will not be here until Monday, but I'm looking forward to come with another topic. Another topic that's important is we're going to delve into the details of the I-485 form. There's some details that are related to the new public charge rule. There is a new public charge rule that went into effect in December, and you should be aware of some of the highlights of that public charge rule because they do ask these questions on the I-485. For example, they do ask about the public benefits that you've received. And if you are subject to the public, to any kind of public charge. So you want to join me on Monday for that because I am going to go through that part of the I-485 for you to understand how this may affect you, especially if you have received public benefits yourself. Public benefits includes, housing, Medicaid, food assistance, cash assistance, and then any time of long-term care. Long-term care is the major concern here. If you have, for example, been committed or been subject to receive long-term care, so the government paid for your long-term care in a facility, that's a red flag for the government. But there can be other red flags as well that you want to be aware of if you have received public benefits. So I'm gonna break that down for you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for your time. Bye bye. And hi, Millie. It's nice to see you.